Today, I'm going to be talking about how to stop letting people affect your energy. If you feel yourself replaying conversations, feeling anxious after someone pulls away, letting one text ruin your mood, or overthinking what people think of you, this video is for you. At the end of the day, we're all human, and these are normal things that bother people, but it's important to seek perspective that expands the understanding in your mind about other people so that they don't affect you anymore. And so let's talk about it. For a long time, I thought protecting my energy meant becoming colder, whether it's distancing myself, cutting people off, or acting unbothered. But there comes a point where you realize that even after people leave your life, they could still live inside your mind. Their memories could still affect your mood. And I think this is a very emotionally exhausting process. Not the people themselves, but the amount of access that we end up giving them internally. Peace is when nobody triggers you. Peace is when someone else's behavior stops being the weather forecast for your inner world. These are some techniques that could help you stop emotionally absorbing people while staying calm, cool, and collected. The first point is that people give events, but the mind creates the experience. I recently attended a seminar by Sister Shivani, and I learned a refreshing perspective on emotions, and that is that people don't directly influence your emotions. People only show you an event, and you let your emotions get affected through it. For instance, people give you words, situations, choices, but internally we are the ones that create a response to that. For instance, if someone ignores you in, say, a group setting, your mind could say, they don't care, I'm unwanted, something is wrong with me. But another person could look at you and just think, oh, maybe they're just overwhelmed, maybe this has nothing to do with me. And all of this is happening in the same event. And psychology supports this too. Our emotions are often shaped less by the events themselves and more by the meaning that we assign to them. That realization is really important, because you need to stop seeing yourself as emotionally helpless. Sometimes we live like everyone has remote control access to our nervous system. If they reply, you feel okay. If they withdrew, you spiral. If they approve, you feel worthy. That is exhausting because your peace becomes dependent on unpredictable people. The reality is that everyone is unpredictable. Real emotional freedom comes when you stop being the receiver of everyone's energy and start becoming the creator of your own internal state. Understand that you have so much control over your emotions and you can choose how to respond in any situation. The second point is that emotional boundaries are usually love, but without any absorption. Boundaries don't mean that you detach from a situation or from someone. Boundaries is understanding where someone else ends and where you begin. Someone can be angry without you being angry. Someone can withdraw without you having to abandon yourself to pull them back. Someone can misunderstand you without you trying to prove your goodness. A lot of us, especially if we're empathetic, anxious, or used to earning love, start to emotionally merge with other people. We monitor their tone, the speed of their replies, their facial expressions, their mood, and eventually we stop asking, how do I feel? And start asking, how do they feel? How do they feel about me? That's where people slowly lose themselves. Real emotional maturity isn't becoming unaffected. It's staying connected to yourself, even if someone else changes. Point number 3 is stop fighting reality. There's an idea found in both stoicism and psychology that says pain is unavoidable. Suffering grows when reality is resisted. You cannot control someone's feelings, someone's honesty, someone's consistency, someone choosing you, someone understanding you. So much anxiety can sound like they shouldn't have changed, they should have cared more, they shouldn't have acted this way. But reality already happened, and fighting reality doesn't change reality. It usually just extends the pain and delusion. To accept something, you don't have to necessarily agree to it, but when you do accept what's happening, you start to ask, now what? What can I control in the situation? And what you can control is your response, your standards, your routine, your actions, your self-respect. And as long as you focus on that, I promise you, you will find a whole lot of peace. Point number 4 is stop making other people your source. This point can hurt a little because a lot of us don't want love. We want regulation. We want other people to make us feel secure, to reassure us, to choose us, to calm the parts of us that we haven't learned to calm ourselves. One thing that Sister Shivani talked about in her speech was emotional self-resilience. Not because people are necessarily bad, but because people are variable. People change. People get overwhelmed. People make bad decisions. People can still love you deeply but disappoint you. Someone can care deeply and still be inconsistent. The list goes on and on. But if another person becomes your source, their absence starts to feel like emptiness. So stop asking yourself who is making you feel okay and start working on how you can be okay regardless of whatever. There's also a Buddhist idea that says attachment isn't the same thing as love. Attachment says my peace depends on you behaving the way that I need. But love says that I appreciate you, I care about you, but I do not abandon myself for you. That distinction changes everything. Stop trying to get people to regulate your inner world. Start learning how to be your own home for yourself. Point number 5, thoughts are not facts. Most of the time, we think we're reacting to reality, whereas we're reacting to our perception or our interpretation of the reality. If someone cancels a hangout or a date, you might start assuming that they're acting distant or that they don't care about you, that you're not enough. But those are not facts. That's a thought that you have in your mind. These are called cognitive distortions in psychology, which are automatic stories that feel true to us. So whenever an event like this occurs, which sends you into a little bit of a spiral, you need to sit down and ask yourself what objectively happened in the situation. Maybe your thoughts are right, but there could be way more explanations to it as well. So ask yourself what objectively happened versus what is the story that I told myself. In fact, even sit down and make 2 different lists of those 2 things. It could immensely help you. Create space between the event and the meaning of the event. Point number 6 is energy follows attention. You can remove someone from your life, but if your mind still spends hours replaying their patterns, analyzing them, checking to see what they're doing, wondering, emotionally it means that you never left. Attention is energy, and what you give your attention to strengthens your emotional patterns. Whatever receives your attention starts to become more emotionally important. So start to ask yourself, are you feeding this or are you healing this? Because every single time that you choose to return your attention to your work, your body, goals, your friendships, and your routines, you are choosing yourself. And you're reminding yourself that your life is so much bigger than a bad event or that one person. The last point for the day is healing doesn't require one final explanation, one final apology, or a conversation. And closure isn't something that is always given by another person. Sometimes it's something that you can build on your own. Waiting for someone else to provide peace to you is what keeps destroying your inner world. It gives them authority over your inner world. At some point, healing becomes the decision that I may never fully understand, but I refuse to stay emotionally parked in this place. Now, when someone affects me, I always pause and ask, what happened externally? What happened internally? What belongs to reality? What belongs to interpretation? And which part can I actually influence? Protecting your energy doesn't mean that you have to be cold. It means that you are entirely rooted within yourself and your emotions. And this way, people can become experiences in your life. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you liked the video, and let me know in the comments below what you would like to see from me next.